Hi, and welcome to Focal Point, AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Great to have you in the conversation. Free for All Friday. We'll take calls on any topic you want to talk about. Let's grab clip number 2. Rob, you're familiar with the Rachel Maddow show on MSNBC. She did a feature piece on the Values Voter Summit taking place right now in Washington, D.C. American Family Association, a co-sponsor of that event, along with the Family Research Council. And by the way, we now have absolute proof that training is taking place on military bases in which the American Family Association is being identified and tagged by members of the military, by men in uniform, as a domestic hate group. And this is the information and perspective that's being imparted to soldiers in uniform. Now, a lot of these soldiers, they don't have an opportunity to do the kind of research that would be necessary for them to make up their own mind. They've got jobs to do and families to go home to. They're trusting what their superior officers are telling them. So if their superior officers are out there telling them that the American Family Association is a domestic hate group in the same category with neo-Nazi skinhead groups, they could possibly believe it. It's libelous, it's slanderous, but it's nevertheless out there. So we are considering what we're going to do as an organization to respond to that. But Rachel Maddow, she went after me and Bob Vanderplatz last night. You'll recognize my voice. You'll recognize, or the other voice you will not perhaps recognize, although Bob's been a guest on this program, is Bob Vanderplatz. He's the head of the family leader in the state of Iowa. So Rachel Maddow was talking about what's going on in Russia. And remember, Russia has passed a law that makes it illegal to propagandize teenagers. They've got a plummeting birth rate. They know that homosexuals cannot conceive children, that they've got a huge population problem. They're losing 750,000 people a year. They've got to find some way to reverse that trend. And one of the ways to reverse that trend is direct sexual energy toward the marriage relationship between husband and wives, because this is where children come from. They've even got a national a day of conception. I don't forget exactly what it's called, but they give everybody in Russia a day off to go home and make babies because they need to have a growing population. They're realizing that this worldview that they've adopted that makes children a bad thing, or this abortion on demand. I mean, I think like 3/4 of all pregnancies in Russia terminate in abortion. It's just, in the United States, it's around 36%, I think. But in Russia, it's been as high as 75%. They use it as a form of conception. So not only are children not being born, but these repeated abortions affecting the fertility of women. They're unable to conceive children when they get around to deciding that they want to. So this is a good law. And we have praised Russia for this. Vladimir Putin has been talking openly this week about the importance of Christianity at the heart and soul of Russia as a nation. They need to get back to Christian principles. Then they need to recover their Christian heritage, including its values on sexuality and marriage. Well, Rachel Maddow doesn't like us very much for commending Russia, and here's what she had to say last night on her program. The first voice you will hear will be Bob Vanderplatz from Iowa Family Leader. The second voice will be recognizable to you. Let's listen.
But what about not tacit approval, not silent approval? What about totally out loud, overt approval of what Russia's doing?
Putin saying, you know what? Don't bring this homosexual propaganda into my country for the Olympics. We believe in one man, one woman marriage. There is no homosexual marriage in Russia.
Which president is the lion of Christianity, the defender of Christian values, the president that's calling his nation back to embracing its identity as a nation founded on Christian values? Those, ladies and gentlemen, are quotes from Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia.
He's taken what used to be our strengths, which is now defaulted into our weaknesses because of Barack Obama, no leadership, and he's making them his strengths, and he's emerging now on the world stage as a newly discovered leader. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why you need to rise up. The people here, this is why we rise up.
What Russia's done here with this law is they have expressed the values that we have been advocating for years and years and years. Well, this is exactly what Russia has established as official public policy. So in my mind, we ought to be celebrating this. This is public policy that we've been advocating, and here's a nation in the world that's actually putting it into practice.
Turns out, actually, that the anti-gay American right has been more than just applauding Russia and Vladimir Putin as they enact all these anti-gay laws that they want for us here, too. Turns out that they haven't just been cheering them on. The anti-gay right here has also been helping Russia do this.
And talking there about Brian Brown, National Organization for Marriage, actually went to Russia and spoke to their parliament there. Well, let's go back to our phones, Free for All Friday, 888-589-8840. And also Scott Lively been a guest on this program. He also has gone to Russia and talked to lawmakers there, and he had something to do with the adoption of that very, very good legislation. It prohibits adoption of children into homosexual households. Got another story, haven't been in the stack all week, haven't been able to get to it, but a study out of Canada that the graduation rates of children that are raised in same-sex households is only 65% of the high school graduation rate of students who are raised in intact homes where they're raised by their biological parents who are married to each other. In other words, same-sex parenting does positive harm to children. It is a form of child abuse. That's what all the social research is saying. Russia's exactly right. If we're going to adopt children, we want to put them in households where they're raised by a mom and a dad. Good on them. Let's go to Doris in Waco, Texas. Doris, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
You had said earlier that banks were for, small businesses to get loans. We have been in business in Waco for many, many years, and we have relationships with 2 or 3 different banks. And before Obama, we never had any problem getting a loan. We would get a loan, we would pay it back. We paid it back on time, didn't have any problem. All we had to do was take it, our customer base, show them our profit and loss, and then they would give us a loan. We have not been able to get a loan recently, and we had a personal relationship with a banker that we've known more than 30 years that we have taken and repaid several loans to the bank where he worked. And we went and talked to him, and you could tell that he was being very careful how he stated what he had to say. But he said the federal government has tied our hands so tightly that the only loans we can make are mortgages and automobile loans. He said small business loans are practically unheard of now. And it's the federal government that is doing it.
Yeah. Well, listen, I appreciate the call, Doris, and it's sad but true. That's what my research is indicating. I'm looking at a piece here from the New York Times. Without services, small businesses feel the pinch.
Oh, yeah.
And here I'm looking at this story about a precision machine components company, TL Technologies. Last week, the head of this company was poised to close on a $1.5 million loan backed by the Small Business Administration since the government shut down his lender, which is a bank in Lititz, Pennsylvania. I'm not sure how you say that, is prepared to cut a check but cannot do it until the SBA and other government agencies reopen and process some final paperwork. And so my question is, what is the federal government doing involving itself in these loans from a private bank to a private business?